Know that it's possible and know that it starts with you. It starts with building the leader within. You are chosen. We are all chosen. We were given that power from the day we were born in this world. We were born with abundance and infinite potential, but it starts with you. And sometimes that means you have to reevaluate your vision. Who are you and what are you meant to solve in the world? What are you meant to create in the world? What value do you want to bring? How do you want to serve? How do you want to be a heart-led leader in the world and help others? The first rule is bigger than you. Your team, community, humanity needs you. Rule number 2, it's all about you. What you do and build yourself up as a leader, treating your body like a temple, treating your mind like a sanctuary, appreciating your heart and your soul. And it's all about you. It's all bigger than you. And that's how you will change the world.
Now that's how you end a video together. What's up, guys? It's Mike Sherrard, and today we have on a living legend, Gerard Adams, the millennial entrepreneur who exited his business for $50 million. But in this episode, we bring you the latest, greatest version of Gerard. He's sharing things that he's never shared on other interviews before because he's developed so much over the last couple of years, and we're going to get into a couple things that you wouldn't have heard about before. Today, the focus, after getting into some of the insane things that have changed in his life, we're going to talk about exactly what you need to know about how to become a legendary leader, as well as how to build an unforgettable personal brand. So let's get straight into it, introduce Gerard Adams to you, and share with you some stuff that you won't find anywhere else. What's up, guys? I'm super excited for this episode. This is one that I've been waiting to do for a long time now. We have one of the biggest entrepreneurial leaders in the world right now, and a guy that I'm very humbled to be able to call a friend, as well as my direct mentor with the Trusted Advisors group, which I'll talk to you about later in this episode. So again, welcome Gerard Adams. This guy is somebody that you've definitely heard about before, Leaders Create Leaders podcast. But before we get into personal branding, storytelling, as well as how to become a true leader, I'll let Gerard introduce himself, and then we'll get into straight to the value for you guys.
Cool. Well, Mike, thank you so much for inviting me to share and connect with you and every one of you that took some time right now to watch this video. I value time at this point in my life, 35 years old, and I really have started to kind of rethink about how I spend my time, like all of it, and how I create time, more or less of it. And I just honor you for taking a moment to learn, and learn something from me. I've been an entrepreneur for 18 years now. It's pretty cool. Like, I feel like I'm going on 2 decades and I still feel young as shit, but it's like I look back and I'm like, man, like I actually have this experience that I remember when it was like to be an entrepreneur from the very beginning and what that felt like. And now I do feel like I'm at a point in my life where I'm a little bit more comfortable in the uncertainty. I'm a little bit more experienced with certain things and how I make my decisions and choices and how I show up in the world. So it's really cool to finally be able to share a lot of this wisdom. And I honor you for taking some time today to dive in and learn a little bit and connecting with you guys. So Mike, thanks for having me, bro.
Yeah, I think it's going to be super exciting because we're going to talk about one of the most relevant topics right now, which is building your personal brand. Something a lot of people know is important, but not a lot of people understand how to properly do. Something that you've, in my personal opinion, have mastered. Now, if somebody has somehow been living under a rock and hasn't quite heard Gerard's story, do you want to just give a quick kind of 2-minute overview of the fact that not a lot of people know that you started from the bottom, came to the top, lost it all, built it back up, did something incredible, and had quite a successful exit. So I'd love to hear a bit of that, and then we'll get straight into it.
Cool. Yeah. So I'm a young Jersey kid. I grew up in a small town, in a pretty much a middle-class area. I owe it all to my family. I know that not all of us are blessed to have a family, and I was blessed to have both a mother and a father that were extremely hardworking. They were the first mentors in my life. Both sides of my family immigrated. So, I come from a family of immigrants, from Italy, from a little village called Avellino on the ship. That's how I got my name Gerard, from a saint. That's an Italian saint that would help mothers to conceive and have children. And his name was Saint Gerard, and he would help a lot of children in that village, and it's cool to like I pray to him, and I feel connected to that tradition and heritage. And then on my mom's side, I have family from Colombia. My mom was born in Cali in Colombia, but we also had family and farmers from Ecuador, and I'm also Native American as well. So yeah, so I mean, I think it's cool to know that like I come from this heritage, and I honor it because, man, it's like they took this risk to come, as we all know, like many of us can relate to. But you know, we have our great grandparents and grandparents and parents that have taken risk in their lives to give us this opportunity, you know, to be free, to, you know, to create wealth, to create happiness. And a lot of them didn't have it like we do. They didn't have the opportunity to watch these videos. You know, my upbringing, you know, I remember hearing the stories of both sides of my family. They struggled. You know, my mom, there was a moment in my life where when I, you know, I had made millions of dollars and lost it all. And my mom told me this story of how she came to this country with nothing, with all my uncles and aunts and my grandparents, and their little 1-bedroom apartment caught on fire, and they literally, with nothing, lost everything they even had, right? So just my mom just telling me this story with, you know, tears coming down her eyes, and saying, you know, if I was able to overcome that and was able to bounce back at, you know, and she was the oldest, and she was still only 16, who had to drop out of school to go get a job at a place called Canal Street in Manhattan, you know, and which was not safe. It was the first time my mom went from Jersey to New York. And she was like, this young 16-year-old girl trying to help people not steal from stands on Canal Street. Canal Street's known for like selling fake Chanel bags and purses and all these, like, it's called like Chinatown, it's kind of called. So my mom was working in Chinatown at 16 years old to help my parents build back up. And my mom was like, if I had to go through that and build my life up to eventually have kids and put a roof over their heads, like, you can lose everything in life, all the external materialistic things, but they'll never take this and they'll never take this. And my mom inspired grit and hard work and resilience. And she also taught me the feminine side of love, you know, and was there for me. So my mom inspired me because I saw her working 7 days a week growing up. You know, my father instilled leadership in me at a very young age. He used to leave little leadership notes around my house, under my bed, in my notebooks. And there were always these little quotes from like Marcus Aurelius, John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, all these great leaders. So I was blessed to have these hardworking parents that taught me leadership, taught me core values and ethics and morals. And then I grew up with 2 beautiful sisters, a younger and an older. I'm the middle child. And I was a troublemaker. So I grew up a troublemaker in Jersey. I started a natural born hustler. I started selling Mark Echo t-shirts. I would sell lollipops in elementary school. I was always selling something. And then eventually it led me down the wrong path where I was getting jumped a lot. I was getting bullied, jumped a lot, and it led me to getting involved with a gang. And the next thing you know, I'm selling illegal shit. I'm selling weed. I'm selling fake IDs. I'm selling all types of drugs. And I was good at it. You know, I was good at it, and it made me feel like I was good at something, while all my friends were the smart ones that were getting into universities, and I couldn't get good grades, and I wasn't first string in sports. Like, selling and hustling in the streets, like, that was my thing, like street smarts. So, you know, I had a moment in my life that was pivotal, and this is what led me to entrepreneurship. I finally one day was scaling in my basement. My dad comes downstairs. He sees me. He has all the weed all over my bed. I had a scale. My dad's like, now my dad and my mom, just to give you context, my father's like a Tony Soprano type. If you ever watch The Sopranos on HBO, he's like this old school 3-fingered Italian guy. He doesn't take no shit, but he's actually really funny and he's really smart. And he was hardworking. He worked for a company that is one of the first company had $1 trillion in assets called Prudential Financial. And then my mom, she was like this Spanish Oprah, this Latin Oprah. Everyone would come to her house. Everybody got rice and beans. She made everybody laugh, and she was just like big mush. But she, again, worked 7 days a week at a local supermarket. So my mom worked her whole life. So my dad comes downstairs. He sees me, you know, bagging up all this weed, scaling drugs. And he just, you know, I thought my dad was going to smack me around, but he ended up just saying to me, when you get caught, don't call home. and I'm disappointed in you, but don't call home. He won't be here for you. That day I left, and I would hold the weed in my glove compartment, under my cup holder, my transmission. The cops all pull around me. Woo, woo, woo. And I'm like, fuck, this is that moment my father told me was going to happen. I'm about to be the biggest failure to my entire family. And lo and behold, there was somebody committing grand theft auto in the car in front of me. And they said, "Hey, kid, get out of here." And that was the day when I left that day. I said to myself, I'm no longer going to, take my hustle and sell drugs or be on the streets, but I'm going to channel my hustle into learning business. And I decided that day to go into doing whatever it took to find mentors in my life that can teach me the stock market, understanding stocks, and then how to use the internet to build businesses. And I ended up getting into a local community college. I met some friends in class, and I was like, does anybody know anyone who's like made it? Who's like young and has made it as like an entrepreneur? And I just really didn't even know what about entrepreneurship was, but I was like, I knew I wanted to learn from a mentor that was not just from books in school. I felt like school, although I'm pro education, I just feel like it's another big business. They tell you what classes to take in order to earn certain credits in order for you to get into the classes you want. And a lot of times you get into debt going into the system, and you graduate with a degree that's pretty much almost worthless unless you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or, something like that. And you're in debt half the time. So for me, I saw it as a big business. God bless those who leveraged it as a way to network and grow, for sure. For me, it wasn't for me. And I dropped out my first semester during finals week because a mentor that I had met inspired me. I'll never forget that day, leaving that class, feeling like so scared. But I went all in on entrepreneurship because I saw someone who showed me it was possible. This mentor was the first person I saw. I'll never forget going to his house, 3-car garage, basketball court, in-ground pool, you name it. And I remember him coming down this mansion inside the house. And I remember asking him, like, what do your parents do? This kid must have been like 20 years old. I was 18 years old. He's like, this isn't my parents' house. This is my house. And that's when I was like, okay, this is possible. So I dedicated all my time to learning, and he taught me everything about how to research stocks, how to read an income statement, a balance sheet, how to write, emails and understand email marketing, how to write copy, how to do PPC ads back then, Google pay-per-click ads, how to build lists and drive traffic, and how to read financial statements and understand what made companies grow. And his name was Jonathan, and I owe it to him. He was the first catalyst in my life that helped me become a 7-figure entrepreneur. And I then turned that into my first company that scaled to 10 million in revenue, which was a marketing agency doing email marketing for small cap publicly traded companies. So I built my first 8-figure business. That's when that moment happened when I lost it all. The economy crashed. That was the first recession, not COVID, but the one around 08 and 09. And then that was the moment my mom told me that story that I mentioned to you guys. And then it inspired me to say, okay, so what? I lost all the millions of dollars I had in the stock market. What can they not take from me? The fact that I'm passionate and I understand content. I understand how to drive traffic. I understand how to tell stories. And I decided, well, what am I looking for? What is a problem in the marketplace that I want to solve? And I was like, well, I don't see a publication that has become the voice of the millennial generation that covers everything from business to health to just everything, style, humor, entertainment, like the Huffington Post of Generation Y. And me and 2 interns in my apartment were like, why not us? Bought the domain name for $9.99 and took that idea and the 3 of us in an apartment to 200 employees. We had the largest millennial publication in the United States of America by 2015 with 80 million readers unique per month. And we ended up having $1 billion company that we negotiated. I went and found the CEO and elevator pitched him at a speaking event, got him to our office, got him to be an advisor. And next thing you know, we got acquired by $1 billion company for $50 million by the time I was 30 years old. And I went through a depression at that point. And as crazy as it sounds, I was like, I finally hit these accolades, but I realized, like, why do I still not feel fulfilled? And I went down this path, which, I'm more than happy to talk more about, but I've been going for a while now, which led me to starting a movement called Leaders Create Leaders, where I started traveling the world, interviewing leaders on YouTube and building a movement more than just a show. And now into a mastermind that Mike's a part of. So yeah, so I tried to do as best I could, Mike. Sorry, I know it was a little bit long there.
No, I think that's amazing, man. And you know, I think it's incredible because I'm a huge advocate of something that you alluded to, which is that if you develop the right skill set, it doesn't matter if you lose everything, you'll be able to build it back up. But you have a lot of these people that are always chasing the shiny penny, or always chasing the overnight success. And if they lose that and they haven't developed any talent, knowledge, skills, or experience, they're going to have a hell of a time trying to build themselves back up. But for you, you've got so much experience now that if you lost it all tomorrow, you'd probably build yourself bigger than you are right now because of what you've done. And I think it's powerful to start diving into the leadership side of things, because that's exactly the movement you created. And I think that's something that we should touch on right now, which is becoming a conscious leader. And I know that you've gone on pretty, extravagant tours through the Amazon and things like that in order to find yourself and become the best version of Gerard you humanly can. So I'd love to talk a bit more about what leadership means to you, and maybe some of the myths that you find with leadership. A lot of people think leadership is a certain something, and they're not finding the true version of themselves. They're trying to be the next Tony. They're trying to be the next, Gerard Adams, but they're not Gerard or Tony. So for you, what do you believe is the quality of a true conscious leader, and how should people be going about developing leadership? And what are some of the mistakes you see people make as they try to become a leader?
Wow, powerful. So for me, leadership is one, it's a skill. It is something just like a muscle that you can build, you can learn. There is a science, there is an art to it. But most importantly, I believe leadership at the core is about character. Mm-hmm. You see, leadership is based on one of the biggest principles is based around trust. Like, it really genuinely is. Like, for someone to follow you, they have to trust you. And to trust you, it has to be based on your character. And character comes from, and this is where I feel great leaders are really born. And what I realize is, like, you have to, as a leader, like, you have to go through shit. Like, I think great leaders have grit. Great leaders have had to, like, overcome adversity at its finest. They've had to overcome tons of pain and obstacles, and people have to know that they have overcome that stuff, and therefore they give them possibility about and hope about what can be accomplished, and that because they have this resilience factor. And I feel like a lot of people that want to become leaders, they want to overlook the struggle. And I think any great leader's story starts with the struggle and starts with the shadows. Like, thinking about what has God put you through in your life that has not made it easy, that has made it tough. Because that's what makes a great leader, is like characters built off of those moments in life, those 8-mile moments when you have, you're knocked down and were you able to get back up? Were you able to fight? Were you able to stand for something that you believe in, even when the whole world was crashing down around you, or people didn't believe in you? People thought you were crazy, or you were getting judged and criticized, but you were willing to stand for something that you believe in. You were willing to get back up when you were knocked down and keep fighting, knowing that you only truly fail if you give up. And that's not easy to do. Most people don't have the strength, the courage, the valor, the resilience, the determination to fight, to keep pushing through. And that's what really, I think is really important. And I feel like leadership is, so again, I think leadership is character, and really tapping into what that means for you. How do you make people feel? Do they trust you? Do you represent and communicate that you're loyal, that you have integrity, that you, that you're real, that you're authentic, that you're someone that is selfless, that you're willing to put other people's needs in front of your own, that you're willing to do what's in the greater good of the mission
Mm-hmm.
and of the team and of the community and of humanity over just your own selfish needs of just wanting to be rich and just wanting more materialism or wanting fame and all of those things. Like great leaders, you'll realize they think about the whole, that great leadership is based on service. You know, you think about heart-led servant leadership. Like leadership means service, being of service to others. And I think leadership is a lifestyle. I think it's a way of being. You know, for me, it's like it's a complete being of who I am, meaning that, like, yes, I'm a leader in my business and my team looks to me to lead them. Yes, I'm a personal brand and I lead my audience and I inspire them and I influence them. But I'm a leader in the way I am in my family. I'm a leader in the way that how I see strangers. You know, when I see a person on the street that's homeless, like, regardless of putting it on Instagram or not, like, I'm going and talking to that person. I'm asking them their name. How are they? You know, I'm giving them a meal. I'm helping them out. You know, if I see someone's having a rough day, you know, I do what I can to help shift their energy. You know, even if it's just a smile, walking past someone on a hike, you know, regardless though, and like in all areas. And then I think there's this other aspect of leadership that I talk about, which is conscious leadership, you know, and I think that is something that I never really knew growing up as a leader. Like, I always knew leadership was a lot of things I mentioned. My dad raised me to think about a man and should not worry about his reputation, should worry about his character, because that's how you will be remembered, how you made people feel. So all those core values, all the things of integrity and all those morals that my parents taught me was with the character aspect. And that's one area of leadership. And that's how you show up and that's how you'll influence people. But there's another area of leadership, and that's about the leader within yourself. Mm-hmm. And the awareness, the self-awareness that you have about who you are in the world and about why you're here and how God has given you this unbelievable, infinite possibility that's within you to make a significant impact in the course of human history. And, you know, for me, I feel like a lot of times we don't think about like who we really are and how we see ourselves. And there's a whole nother aspect of rewiring your beliefs, rewiring your patterns, rewiring your routine, inheriting new rituals on a daily basis, like meditation and breathwork and sound healing, you know. And there's so many modalities that I use on a day-to-day basis that help me to connect to my heart and to my soul, because one of the greatest characteristics of a leader is that they're able to tap into the power of their intuition. Mm-hmm. And that means you got to go within. You know, like you may have heard like about instinct, how leaders are great with having good instinct and making decisions. So like, how do you tap into instinct and how do you tap into intuition? And that's building this relationship with yourself, knowing yourself and understanding how to tap into your soul and your spirit. And, you know, that's something that we teach, like within the, you know, consistently within the mastermind, is how do you tap in? Because if you can do that every single day, you will tap into that gift that God has given you to make an impact in the world.
Definitely. And, you know, I think there's so many things to unpack there, because, you know, even starting from the core of what you just said, I feel like there's a lot of people, especially in the social media world right now, trying to compensate for leadership with these vanity metrics and thinking that if they get 100,000 followers, they're going to be seen as a leader, but they haven't developed themselves into a leader. So even if people perceive them that way, as soon as people start to depend on them, they're going to be dropping the ball and the true cards are going to come to fruition. And, you know, a lot of them haven't gone through hardship, but something that I'd love to chat about with you is the character that you mentioned, as well as something that, you know, anybody that's followed me on Instagram would have saw me document the journey down in LA when I went to the $1 Million Movement with you, and was very heavy about authenticity. And I think that's something that you've been really advocating for on social, as well as to build your personal brand. So with people that are now trying to become that leader and want to build a personal brand that's recognized as somebody that's influential or inspirational or wants to lead their own movement, what kind of advice do you have for people in terms of what should they be sharing on social media? How should they be sharing it? And a lot of people feel nervous to share that authentic side because of the judgment, because of the criticism. But I think you and I have both seen and proved, and you even more so, the fact that it actually is going to help you much more down the road. So let's talk a bit about that transparency and authenticity side for a sec.
Yeah. Whew. So powerful, Mike. Thanks for honoring me about, what you've learned at $1 Million Movement, that event. I remember sitting with you, man, and challenging you, and really challenging you to start showing these other parts of you, right? And you, on one end, you were like all in on real estate, but there was these other sides of you. And I think a lot of us, we care so much. There's a big thing that I realized that Harvard did a study, and it's like that every single one of us actually has something inside of our brain that worries about what other people think. I call it FOPO, fear of other people's opinions. And what happens is we start living a script. We start living a life of what we think how we want to be seen by others, because we fear what people think. So we try to be perfect in this new world of Instagram, which is only over the last decade, instead of really showing what you really want to talk about, who you really are at the core. And I feel when you start to finally let go and shed the layers of the fear, letting go of the doubt that you're not good enough, letting go of the, feeling like, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not, maybe I'm not worthy. I'm not smart enough. And you just start saying, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to start showing people. And even if it's just documenting the journey, I'm going to just start being super real, super raw, speaking truth. And I think that when you start finally letting go of those layers and getting rid of the fear of what people think of you, and you can just really speak from a place of truth, knowing that even the greatest leaders in history, I'm talking like Mother Teresa level, Jesus Christ level, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, we can go on and on with some of these leaders. They were all hated on, all of them, to the point of Jesus being crucified because people didn't understand him. Can you imagine people hating Mother Teresa, judging her? We come from a world and we live in a society right now that is filled with judgment. We judge ourselves, we judge others. We come from that place because we are a society, we are a culture of fear. We have been completely plagued by this because of the system, the education system, the media system, the pharmaceutical system. We come from this entire planet that's systemized us to be in fear, even with COVID, with what's going on right now. But when you can finally get rid of the fear, which is very real, I'm not saying that some of this doesn't come from a place of being real, but when you can finally just stop living in that place and saying, I'm going to start stepping into truth. I'm going to start sharing my truth, whatever that is for you. If you can start doing that, first of all, there's a feeling of liberty, true freedom. You are liberated. You can now let go and say, you know what? I get it. Some of the greatest leaders have been hated on. I'm going to be hated on. There's going to be people who don't like you. There's going to be people who don't understand you. The greatest leaders are misunderstood. Look at Elon Musk. Tesla's hitting all-time new highs, their stock, right? You look at some of the greatest leaders. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. Every one of us freaking cherishes these things. We're so loyal. Think about a movement. Apple, the brand he built. So if you want to break through the noise, I know you're probably wondering and you're learning a ton from Mike. You're going to learn a ton. There's so many growth hacks and tactics and strategies. You want to know the number one strategy? And I really believe this. The two number one strategies is speaking your truth and being fully authentic, fully as a personal brand. And then in business, I still believe the greatest form of marketing beyond ClickFunnels and all this shit that we got learned that's powerful and it works is word of mouth marketing, is being so fucking good at your job and over delivering so consistently for your clients. And they know that you care so much about them and your product is so great and that customer experience is so great that they refer you business. I built 8-figure businesses, not because I had the best ClickFunnels, but because I was great at getting people great results, and I cared about my customers, and I cared about over delivering for them to the point that they did the marketing for me. So if you can speak from a place of truth and you can get people results, it's a game changer, game over. So that's first and foremost. And then it goes down to like strategy, you know, and understanding what do you want to be known for? Yeah. You do want to be polarizing, understand who is your market? Who do you want to speak to? And getting very clear on that. And for me, what I do with our clients is I help them get clear on what are their 5 brand pillars. Get very clear on your 5 brand pillars. You know, what I'll show you real quickly is just, for instance, let me see, like my content blueprint here. This is one of the things that we go over at the mastermind. But one of the things is we go over is like, these are my, just to show you guys, these are my brand pillars. So if you come and you work with Gerard Adams, go to my Instagram page, you follow my content, you're going to learn about entrepreneurship. You're going to see things about leadership. You're going to see things about spirituality. You're going to see me talk about family, and you're going to also learn about storytelling. These are mine. So just, you know, I'm not going to go any deeper, but think about like, what are your brand pillars, right? Like, what are the things that you want to be known for? Get clear on that and then build a strategy around those aspects consistently. And then obviously there's tons more we can go into about the systems that it takes to do that successfully. But that's what I would say.
Yeah, man. And, you know, one thing that I can even touch on right here is I love that one of your 5 pillars is family, because I see this a lot. And even I fell victim to this in the past, where you end up becoming a leader in business, but the rest of your life is in shambles, where you've got a toxic relationship. You've got, you know, you don't have the right connection with your parents and your family. You've got your health is falling to pieces. And, you know, you're a leadership in one aspect, but you're never going to achieve full fulfillment if the rest is in complete chaos. And, you know, I love the fact that to you building that brand, and that's even helped me when you sat down with me and said, Mike, you know, you got to start sharing these other aspects. I've even found for myself that people have connected to me on a deeper level, and by incorporating that into my content, I've been receiving almost daily messages on Instagram from people saying, Mike, I watch your YouTube videos. The reason why I love them so much is because you seem so authentic. And that one word is a trigger word for happiness for me, because I know that I've always dreamed of, in this whole world of BS and vanity and optics, that I wanted to be perceived as authentic, because that's what I want to deliver. And the fact that we had that conversation, and this is stuff that other people can learn in the movement, is you're going to be able to connect with your audience on a deeper level. And when you connect with them on a deeper level, people now are trusting me more. They're buying more products. They're buying more masterminds. They have a longer lifetime value. They have stronger retention, less attrition. And it's helped everything scale. And I think that's been one of the biggest things for me, is to not be afraid of that. Because sure, there were some people that, you know, had some, you know, questionable things to say, but that in relationship to the people that were beyond supportive is not even comparable. And what it's done for my business, and I think something that, you know, people listening have to really mention and take note of, is Gerard really pitched the fact of over delivering. And I find a lot of people, once they get a minute taste of success, they feel like they've monopolized themselves, and they feel like they're untouchable, and they stop caring about the consumer journey, and they stop caring about the over delivery, because they feel so entitled that nobody's going to leave them. Nobody's going to leave Gerard Adams. Nobody's going to leave Mike Sherrard so that they can slack off. And I think that's something that you've been a huge advocate for. And I've even seen it myself in the coaching, is that, you know, you want to make sure that you over deliver in a way that people never have to try and justify the value of working with you, buying your product, using your service, or getting coached by you.
Yeah, 100%. And I appreciate that. Thank you so much, bro. It's because for me, it's bigger than money now. You know, it's like, it is living in my legacy. You know, a lot of people talk about leaving a legacy, but it's like, you know, I just think about this in the sense of like, we've lost a lot of really great, powerful leaders in the world. People that are really people that have left such impacts on human history. And man, I get choked up just like even just like thinking about like Kobe Bryant, you know, who's in the behind you, you know, and just thinking about Nipsey, just thinking about so many. There's just so many unbelievable, and it's like ultimately, yes, they left a legacy, but the thing that I really respect about leaders like that is like they lived their legacy.
Yeah.
They lived it, right? So like in everything that you do, what is the effort that you are putting in to live your legacy? Where when someone gets off of that call, someone meets you and they meet you in person, right? Because I've met some people with the freaking blue check marks that have millions of followers, and they're freaking assholes in person. They think they're better than you. They think they're cooler than, or better, and you know. But when you meet a real leader in person, and you can tell that like they don't think that they're better or worse. They know that they're different. They know that they're unique, and they're confident in that, right? They got that part about them where you can tell that they have that it factor about them, but they treat you with just such a beautiful open heart and love. Like when I hear my friends like Patrick Brett David, Danny Rell, who have interviewed Kobe Bryant, and they say to me, man, his work I mean, we would go to the interview and he was beating me to I'm going to interview Kobe Bryant. He beat me to my interview with Kobe Bryant. That's how he would do it, not just in basketball, but in all of life, the way he was with his daughter, right? Then they were like, the way he was kind to them, how like, it wasn't like when he met them, all of a sudden he was better than him because he was Kobe. He treated them with such kindness and love and presence, even though he might have had something else that was important. He was there with you, eye contact, giving you that presence. So it's like, in everything you do, over deliver in that moment. Yeah. In everything you do, in business and in life, in every moment, over deliver. Give your 100% and live your legacy. And if you do that in every moment, if you live in your life that way, that in every moment, I'm gonna give it 100% of my effort, and not have, the expectations that person may even treat you the same way. Because we all know that's especially as a conscious leader, you're going to realize people are not going to always respond to you the way you want, right? People are going to come to you. They're going to hate you. They're going to judge you. There are going to be people who cut you off. There's going to be people who, are going to, it's still be coming from a place of fear and projecting their own shit. And that's okay too. But, ultimately it's like, no matter what, just know who you are and over deliver in who you are. And if you do that, I really believe you'll live your legacy, and people will remember that about you, and people will remember that about you when you pass away. They'll remember how you made them feel. They'll remember how much you cared.
That's powerful, man. And, I've never even heard that perspective, is living your legacy. And I think that's such a key mental paradigm shift that, hopefully anybody that's listening is going to truly take that to heart, because that's massive. And that's exactly why I have these two leaders behind me, and, why I chose to partner with Gerard, to help guide me to the next level. And I feel like, that's something that I'm trying to be conscious of time and time again. Is I know that in the past I maybe over delivered in business, but undelivered or become complacent or comfortable in a relationship or in a friendship or in other aspects. And that ultimately weighed the whole movement down, not just that aspect, but the business and everything came down with it. So now every little moment, like you say, I'm trying to over deliver and be conscious of how can I be better? Because as soon as you become comfortable, that's when things get scary. And, I love that you say is, I've recognized between you and even like Sam Bakhtiar, who's become a good friend of mine, these people just carry themselves in a different way. Some people look at somebody like yourself or Sam and say, wow, they've got, almost 1 million followers. They've got this, they've got millions of dollars. Sam is now, he comments on all my photos. He reaches out to see if I'm having a good day, texts me, messages me. You do the same. And, they're up here, but they care like they're down here. And I think that's been something that I've acknowledged about true leaders, is that they're on a different level. They carry themselves to the point where they don't have to preach their stats or their income or their net worth. You just know. And I think that's something that not only you've achieved, but you've helped a lot of others achieve as well. So, one thing that I want to say before we wrap up is I'd love to explain to people how they can find out a bit more about what I've been through, what I'm going through, and what I'll continue to go through as, we continue to partner on this journey together.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. And again, bro, thank you so much, man, for honoring me, bringing me on here. It's something that I don't take lightly, because I know all these videos one day, man, like my great grandkids hopefully can watch these things, they can learn from it. And I think what you said is really powerful, and I want to reiterate that to everybody, right? It's like, don't just over deliver in business. Yes, that is how you will make massive amounts of money and wealth in your life, millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars by over delivering. But also over deliver, and how can you be a better leader in your life? Hitting up your friends, over delivering in your, with your kids, over delivering in your, in your community. How can you volunteer a little bit more? Over delivering for yourself. Something that I do every year, and everyone who follows me knows, right, is I go and I take a big trip to do deep, deep spiritual work in the Amazon jungle, or in Machu Picchu, or in Costa Rica, or in Bali, or in Israel and Jerusalem, going and walking where Jesus walked. And I do these things because I know it's going to elevate me, going out and exploring the world and filling my cup up. I'm over delivering. I got to over deliver in Gerard every day, in my routine, and what I do, and how I treat my mind, my body, my temple. So think about, how can you over deliver more in your life, in all of your relationships, including the one you have with yourself, and especially too, I will say, with your team. I owe all my success to my team. And for me, before I got on this interview, I spent an hour talking. I do one-on-one calls with my team, asking them about their personal life. How's their personal life? How's their stress levels? Do they feel energized? Are there any new growth opportunities that they would like to see? I offer them scholarships for things that they may want to learn, their own courses, or to give them a stipend to go hire their own coach. And I invest in them. You invest in people, I'm telling you, just invest in them. That is what leaders do. They invest into the people around them, and you will fucking grow exponentially. So I will say that, man. And anyone who wants to learn. So Leaders Create Leaders is a show that I launched 5 years ago. I'm on season 6. It's a documentarian type show where we do a docuseries where we go and immerse ourselves in leaders' lives, like Ed Milet, or this season it's like Bishan, and we got Billie Jean marketing that's in an episode. It's really cool. But everyone from Gary Vee to some of the biggest leaders in the world, we go and we document their life, their day in the life with them. And that show has now turned into a full-blown community of powerful leaders that are all growing. They're at different levels in their businesses, scaling to 6, 7, 8 figures. And I put together this amazing, we call a tribe, and we get together in person. We do some mastermind events. We meet on a weekly basis where I coach them. I have a team of leaders that are with me that are experts at copywriting, marketing, sales, product, operations, and systemizing your business. So we help you to put those systems so that you can, as a CEO, you can really go from being an operator to an owner, going from just generating an income to having an asset. And what does that look like where you have a real company? And, and it's really cool, man. The relationships are powerful. If you want to learn more, all you got to do is go to leaderscreateleaders.com, and you can fill out an application, or you can just shoot me a DM and tell me that you came from this interview, and let me know, and I'd love to connect with you. Or just shoot me an email at VIP@leaderscreateleaders.com. That's VIP@leaderscreateleaders.com.
There you have it, guys. So I'm going to actually link all of those in the description and the pinned comment. And again, hit up either Gerard or I. I'm a living testimonial of some, not just the amazing, successes and the knowledge and skills that I've developed from being a part of this, but the people that I've met in there have become some of my top clients, some of the best people that we can collaborate with. We can refer each other, because what I've quickly realized is that there's a lot of masterminds out there. There's a lot of groups. There's a lot of coaching where you have about, 20% of the people that are taking action, the other 80% are just along for the ride. What I've quickly realized in this group is 100% of people are taking action, and they all are taking you for the ride with them. So by being a part of these leaders that are all trying to take it to that 7-8 figure level, that's what's allowed me to grow. That's what's allowed them to grow. And we're all on the same page, which made it really powerful, because I know that if I can refer someone in that group, they're on the same wavelength as me. And that's been something that I haven't found anywhere else. And I truly can, again, be a good testament to what you're going to get from this. So again, guys, I'll link this below. Gerard, thank you so much, man. Any last words for the future leaders and the future personal brands that are going to come from this?
Wow, bro. Thank you again, man, for the testimony, man. I really, it makes me so happy, bro. Cause I measure my success at this level, at the success of the people around me. I'm no longer in it, just to make millions of dollars. And I've done that. I've had all the exotic cars and freaking things you can buy. Like, for me, it's about seeing my tribe and the leaders that I work with succeed, and those around me succeed. Like, it brings me so much fulfillment. The other day, going to one of my clients' house, and their kids are running around, and they're in this multi-million-dollar mansion in San Diego overlooking the ocean views. And I met him when he had a $60,000 house, and now he has a multi-million-dollar mansion with his kids running around, thanking me. To me, that's priceless. That's priceless. So for me, it's like, it's so cool to see that success rise. And then it's also selfish, because I don't want to do it alone anymore. I want to know that as we all rise, man, in these years to come, we're all fucking friends, and we all can take this wisdom and this influence and this, this wealth, and we can go and we can do amazing things to make the world a better place and give back. For me, that's with kids and educating kids. And for you, maybe a cancer, initiative, or maybe homeless, or people who are or clean water. But like, how cool is that to be leaders where we all can go and support each other's, causes? So it's so cool. And I would just tell you guys, like, know that it's possible, and know that it starts with you. It starts with building the leader within. At Leaders Create Leaders, we have a saying: improve the leader, improve the business. And as much as we have you have an opportunity to influence millions of people in the world. You are chosen. We are all chosen. We were given that power from the day we were born in this world in God's eyes. We were born with abundance and infinite potential, but it starts with you. And sometimes that means you have to reevaluate your vision, reevaluate your core values, reevaluate your mission, reevaluate your relationships and your circle of influence. So right now, more than ever before, with what's going on in the world, reevaluate and ask yourself the tough questions. What does success look like for you? Who are you, and what are you meant to solve in the world? What are you meant to create in the world? What value do you want to bring? How do you want to serve? How do you want to be a heart-led leader in the world and help others? And when you make it bigger than yourself, this is the biggest thing you'll learn about leadership. There's 2 rules. The first rule is that it has nothing to do with you, and it is always bigger than you. Remember that. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than you. Your team, community, humanity needs you. It's bigger than you. Rule number 2, it's all about you. It is all about you. What you do and build yourself up as a leader within yourself, rising your own levels of consciousness, treating your body like a temple, treating your mind like a sanctuary, appreciating your heart and your soul, building yourself up every day. It's all about you, and it's all bigger than you. And that's how you will change the world.
Wow, man, that's how you end a video together. So, man, Gerard, thank you so much, my brother. This was packed far more than, anything I ever could have expected. And again, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate your time as always. And, now I know that you have to get back to spending good time with the people that mean the most to you. But again, thank you so much for dropping this value. Guys, make sure you check out the links below and in the comment. And until next time, we'll see you later.
Peace, bro. Leaders create leaders. Peace.